Okay, this is going to be a pretty lengthy Fusion tutorial for those who have not used it much before, and we're going to be creating an enclosure for the ViewMaster360 Fusion controller project. So we're going to start off in a brand new sketch. We're going to make sure that we are in millimeters, and we are going to hit save, and we're just going to call this ViewMaster. I'm going to call mine tutorial, and we'll click save. And we're going to be saving a lot because we're going to be designing a lot. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to start by modeling the printed circuit board that is going to be in this project. And so we can kind of see it's going to look something a little bit like this. We're going to kind of only extract out the most important features that are going to be helpful for designing the geometry of this. So we're going to kind of boil that down to make it just a little bit simpler. So to get started, we're going to create a sketch. We're going to create it on this flat plane here. And let's go ahead and create a rectangle, and I want to make a center rectangle, and our board is going to be 50 by 50 millimeters. Okay, and then in the center of that, we're also going to make allotments for the joystick. So again, we'll do another rectangle, another center rectangle, and that's going to come out 13 by 13 millimeters. We also have some rounded corners that we want to account for, and so I'm going to hit R for rectangle. We're going to do this as a construction line. That's going to help us with a couple of things. So the rounded corners, we're going to model first as these 4 by 4 millimeter rectangles coming from the corners. That's going to be good for a couple of reasons. One, it's going to allow us to mark up the mounting holes that are on this board. So let's go ahead and create a circle. I'm going to take it out of construction mode, and right at the center of those, I'm going to put in some 3 millimeter holes. So I'm just hitting C to load up that circle tool again, and I'm just dragging them out and typing on my keyboard. Okay, now at this point, we want to create some arcs here. And so to do that, I'm going to come over here, create an arc, and we'll try this 3-point arc. Try to remember how this one actually works. Select start point, end point, and then a point on the arc. Okay, so start point, end point, cool, point on the arc. Lovely. Okay, start point, end point, and that point on the arc. Okay, try it again. Start point, end point, point on the arc. And last but not least, start, end, point on the arc. Okay, so there's kind of the rounded corners of our printed circuit board so far. Okay, we also need to consider the buttons that are on this. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a rectangle. We're going to do this as a construction. We're going to come to the center of this edge, and we want to kind of be thoughtful about these buttons. So give me a second to kind of look at what we got going on here. So it looks like these are, we're going to go up this way, and we're going to make a, we're going to come in 3.5, and we're going to come in 2.5. Okay, so that's with just a construction line, and then I'm going to make another rectangle. I'm going to turn off the construction line. We're going to start from this corner, and we're going to come back out 7 millimeters by 2.5 millimeters here. So that kind of represents where our button's going to be. We're going to do the same thing over on this side. So we do a construction line. We're going to come up 3.5, out 2.5. Hit enter, make another rectangle, go off construction line, start from this corner, and come back in. And that's going to be 7 millimeters and 2.5 millimeters. Okay, so this kind of represents how our buttons are going to pop up. We also have to think about our USB connector and our on-off switch. And so we're going to come up here to the top, and we're going to do another rectangle, go back into construction mode, and we're going to come out and let me take a quick look-see here. Okay, so we're going to come down 5, and we're going to come out, and I believe in total, let's go out 3.5. Okay, and then we'll go back into rectangle mode, get out of construction, and we're going to do 5, and then 7. So that's kind of about where our USB connector is going to be. At that point then, we're going to come over and make up a mark for our switch. And so we're going to come over to the line tool. We're going to turn on construction mode. We're going to come out from this point, and we are going to come out about, I'm going to guess about 3 millimeters. Let's have a look-see. About 3.5 millimeters. Okay, and then from there, we're going to make a rectangle. This is going to be a real one. And we're going to come out 7 and down, looks to be about 3. So about 3 there and 7 there. And that's going to represent our switch that's going to come off of the board. Okay, so this is kind of the bare bones of everything we kind of need to know about this board. So let's go ahead and actually kind of make it 3D. So I'm going to finish sketch. I'm going to click over here to kind of look in this direction. And we're going to start to kind of think about the geometry of the board going down. So to do that, I'm going to hit extrude. I'm going to kind of choose all of these pieces right here. And we're going to go down negative 1.5 millimeters. Okay, so that kind of represents our board. And so I'm going to come up over here, open up this body, and we're going to call this PCB. Okay, and come back over here to sketches because we want to kind of drag up some geometry. And there's actually one bit of geometry that I forgot here. So I'm going to right-click that and click Edit Sketch, and that's going to be for the knob that goes on this. And so for this, I'm going to create a circle. We're going to go to the center, and we're going to come out 4 millimeters. Okay, and then we're going to go into rectangle mode, do construction, and we are going to actually let's do rectangle mode, not construction, but a center rectangle, and this particular excuse me, this particular rectangle is going to be 4 millimeters tall. Excuse me, and 3 millimeters wide, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just double check. 3 millimeters by 4 millimeters. Yep. So we'll hit enter there. Okay. So that's going to be important a little bit later on. Okay, so let's start out by modeling these buttons. So I click Finish Sketch. I'm going to hit Extrude again, and I'm going to raise these buttons up. And these buttons come up 3.5 millimeters. And for these purposes, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of join everything together. I think that'll be okay. And so we're going to join there. I'm going to hit Extrude again. That's a quick key is E. And raise that up 3.5 as well. Okay. For our USB, I'm going to click over here. That's going to come up 3 millimeters. And for our little switch here, it's going to come up 1 millimeter. And then for this geometry, we're going to click the center here. And then we're also going to click, let's see, that, and that, and that, and that, and that. Okay, and that. So everything but kind of this little center piece. And we're going to raise this up 13 millimeters. Okay, and then the last little bit that we need to do is we're going to double check something real quick. Yep. We're going to come in. I'm going to kind of change my little view. I'm going to hit extrude again. Choose this very center piece and raise this up 20 millimeters. Okay, so here's kind of our printed circuit board, and all this is going to kind of help us kind of model the geometry for our enclosure in just a little bit. So it would be a good reference point for us. So we're going to go ahead and name this PCB. Okay. So at the moment, I can actually go ahead and hide this, and I'm going to hide this as well. We're going to be referencing that kind of as we go along. But at the moment, we're going to start working on the bottom part of our enclosure. And so to do that, we're going to create a new sketch. We're also going to do that here on the bottom. And we're going to create a rectangle center. And at this point, we need to kind of think about what the interior geometry of our rectangle is going to be. So our board is 50 by 50 millimeters. So we're going to expand this out to be 52 by 52 millimeters. And that'll give us just some pretty good kind of wiggle room for the board to kind of slide in without too much issue. And then the overall size of the enclosure, we're going to make another rectangle, go from the center. We're going to come out, and the overall size is going to be 70 by 70 millimeters. So that's going to allow us to kind of work within a pretty good amount of space to kind of add in geometry for some rounded edges, for the buttons that are going to get modeled on here, so on and so forth. A couple other things that we need to be thoughtful about is we need to think through some mounting holes. And so if we turn on this, we can kind of see where this hole is going to be. And that's where we're ultimately going to be mounting in the PCB with screws to this. And so we're going to want to kind of recreate that to some extent. But we're also going to think about the standoffs that are going to go along with it. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to come over here to 2-point rectangle, go into sketch mode, and I'm going to come out here, and we're going to place this at 5, 5. And I'm going to turn off this one before because I now kind of know where it needs to be. And I'm going to similarly go through and create some 5 by 5 millimeter construction rectangles here. And what we're going to do is we're going to need a couple of different kind of circles here. So we're going to go to circle. We're going to do real circles, not construction circles. And circle again. Make sure I'm in center diameter circle. And so we know that the screws that go through are 3 millimeters in diameter. So I'll make a couple of those. And I know that the heat set inserts are 4.2 millimeters in diameter. And so I'm going to create some circles that represent where those heat set inserts are going to end up as well. Okay, so we've got those kind of figured out. And then also, kind of want to just be thinking about like how these are going to get supported. And so probably lots of different ways that I could do that. I'm going to create one more circle. I think I'm just going to drag it maybe out to that point. Is that a good idea? Let me think about that. It seems like a little bit too much. Yeah, but we'll try it. So I'm going to draw some 10 millimeter diameter circles here. We'll kind of see what that does. We may change that a little bit later on. And a couple things to know. This is just really a guide. If you are comfortable with Fusion 360, you definitely can do this a different way. You do not have to do it the way that I'm doing it here. I'm kind of just playing as I go along, and this may need adjustment later on as we kind of print it and dial it in, but we'll at least have enough kind of information here to be able to make it all adjustable as we print it out and see how it works in the real world. Okay, so let's kind of keep thinking through what else we need to have here. We are going to add in some mounting holes that are going to be coming up through these edges. So I kind of want to think through about kind of where those are going to be and how those are going to kind of play a role in what we've got going on. So I think my plan, we do coming out here to the center. I'm going to make a line. I'm going to do a construction line. And I know this whole thing is 9 millimeters. So I'm going to come in 4.5 millimeters. And then I'm going to do another construction line. I'm going to come up. And I think I want this kind of line to come up, we'll say about 17 millimeters. And right there, I'm going to create a circle. I'm going to take it off construction mode, and I'm going to create a 3 millimeter circle. So this is where going to be like a screw is going to come through and connect the top and bottom enclosure together. And so I'm going to kind of recreate another construction line from that point coming down, 17 millimeters, go in the circle, take it off construction, and put in another 3 millimeter circle. We're going to recreate that on this other side. So I'm going to hit line, construction, come out 4.5. Ooh, that is not how I want to do that. Let's try that again. So here, okay, come out 4.5. Come up. You can see how I'm kind of snapping it so it goes exactly to the 90-degree angle. Okay, L is also the shortcut key for line. So same thing there. Go into circle mode, out of construction mode, and make some 3 millimeter circles here. Okay. Next thing we need to think about is kind of the button geometry. And so this one's going to be kind of interesting with respect to kind of how we design it, because it's going to be a series of rectangles that allow the buttons to kind of rest inside it. And so we're going to kind of create a side profile of this and kind of work our way around to kind of make the most sense of how these buttons are going to go in. So we're going to start by taking a couple of measurements. So, hold on a second. Okay. So we're gonna come in and I'm gonna do this with lines, I think. I'm gonna come here to the center. And how do I want to do this? So I think we're going to do a line here, starting at this edge, and I'm going to have it come up 7 millimeters. So you can kind of see that dot come in. We're going to go for this line out, and that's going to come out 2.5 millimeters. Okay. We're going to click on that, come back down, and that's going to come down 4 millimeters. Okay, another line. It's going to come straight out from that. We'll go 5.5 millimeters. Okay. Then we're going to do another line coming up from that, and that's going to come up 10 millimeters. And then one more line kind of going across, and that is 1 millimeter. Is that correct? Sure. We're going to go with it. Okay. So I've kind of got this half of the geometry, kind of making this sort of T shape. So I'm actually going to kind of repeat that here on this side. So I'm going to come down 7, come in 2.5, come up, straight up, 4, come out 5.5, come down 10, and I'm going to There we go. Yeah. So we can kind of see where maybe that button's going to kind of sit in there and kind of push on it. So we need to keep this on the other side. For those who are really comfortable with Fusion, you may want to use the symmetry tool. So I'm kind of doing it the long way just to kind of keep things simple for our friends who haven't done as much Fusion work, and this is just good practice using the line tool. So we'll come here. Again, we're going to come up 7. We're going to come out 2.5. We're going to come up 4. Okay, here we go in 5.5. Just double checking. Okay, we're going to come up 10, and we're going to come out 1. Okay, so same thing, come down 7, come out 2.5. You got to kind of be careful what you're doing because I know we're getting lots of lines on top of lines, so just try to be patient and conscious of where you're clicking. You should be all right. Here, 5.5. You see I'm zooming in and out a lot. Down 10. And finishing that last line at 1. Okay. Oops. All right, so you can see I actually went the wrong way there. One of these does not look like the other. Looks like I zigged when I should have zagged. So, it's okay. Control Z is your friend. So let's see where I went wrong. I went out here, okay, so out 2.5, up 4, out 2.5, up 7. Okay, yeah, this is where I went on. I was supposed to come here and then down 4. There we go. And then out 5.5. Up 10. And out 1. Yep. So, sorry about that for leading you astray, but good to know that we all make mistakes. Alright, so down 7. And we're going to come up 2.5. Okay, not going to make the same mistake. We're going to come up this way. 4. Come out 5.5. Down 10. And out 1. Okay. So let's see if I can kind of really click on this area. Yeah. So that's looking much better. That looks like that one. Okay. Well, we got a lot of geometry going on in here, and hopefully it'll mostly work out for us as we begin to kind of build this out. So I think we're probably ready to start trying to take this thing into the 3rd dimension. So we're going to think about how tall this needs to be overall. And so I think our approach is going to be here. We're going to click Finish Sketch. We're going to click Extrude. And we're going to click just about everything there is here. So I'm going to see if it'll just let me draw a big old rectangle around that. Yep, that's good. And so I'm going to take this down -20. But I don't think I want that. No, I do want that for now. Yeah, we'll just take everything down. We're just going to create a big old solid block here. Okay, so I'm going to click OK, and then we're going to call this our base. Call this our base too. Okay, sketch. Okay. And let's go ahead and turn on this base so we can kind of see what we're doing. Okay. So a couple things that we know. So we're going to come in here, and these holes, we're going to select all of them. So I hit extrude, and then selected these holes. And these are going to get, we're just going to drag them down. You see how they're creating this kind of red cylinder here, and it's a cut. So if we do that and we click OK, you'll see that actually kind of cuts a hole through our model, and that's good. That's kind of what we want. We're also going to kind of do that for a good bit of this model. And so this particular area right here, we're going to take all the way down to the bottom. And so I believe, if I'm very much not mistaken, okay. Oh, I see. Okay. So made a little bit of a mistake here. And so I did not bring this down far enough. That's okay. So we can come back up where we kind of extruded that down. So it's this little step down here in the bar. I'm going to right click and hit Edit Feature. It says we went down -20. We actually need to go down -25. And so if we make that change, it should be okay. We should still see that our holes kind of went all the way through. So that's just kind of a little quick trick if you make a mistake, like we're going to make a few. Okay, so the reason that caught me off guard is because we do want to go to Extrude, and we do want to click this, and this we want to go down -20. And so we're going to kind of cut this hole into it, and that's going to kind of make room for our awesome battery and PCB and things like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and make some additional kind of adjustments for our PCB and stuff. And so what we're going to do is we are going to take these guys. So I'm going to kind of select all these areas in here. These are going to kind of be the little places where the PCB will kind of mount on our board. I'm going to come down here. I'm just going to make sure that I'm kind of getting everything selected for now. Okay. And we're going to bring that down, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, -7. So now you can see kind of it brought those little areas down. Sure. And then at this point, we are going to take the extrude tool. I'm going to grab these guys, because these are going to be the kind of holes that we kind of drill down. And we're going to bring those down to, let's see, those are the 3mm holes. Oh, we actually don't need that. We need these guys. So we're going to select both of these circles. Those 3mm holes will be helpful a little bit later on. We're going to grab both of these circles in each corner, and we're going to bring that down -11. Okay, yeah. So that's going to create a spot where our heat set inserts can go in, and we'll be able to screw the board in. Okay. Now at this point, we're going to take these guys, and we're going to bring those down -5. Okay, so we can kind of see them kind of opening up for our buttons there. And then, yeah, I'm wondering if I turn off this face. I'm kind of okay with these little screw nuts. I'm wondering if there's anything better we could do here. So I'm going to try something real quick. We're going to kind of zoom in. I'm going to kind of hover over, and you can see where I kind of hit this little vertical line right here. So I'm going to come up here to fill it, and I'm going to click that line. I'm going to come find his friend on the other side. There we go. And I'm going to kind of give it a fillet of, let's see what, yeah, let's do 2mm. Ooh, hello, that's not right. So I'm going to give it a fillet of 2mm. That's just going to add a little bit of material here, excuse me, to kind of stiffen that up just a little bit. So I'm going to do that on all corners. And so I'm going to come here, hit fillet, and I kind of hover over till I find that vertical line right there, and then type in 2 and create that fillet of 2mm. So again, fill it, find the vertical lines, and last but not least, fill it. And the vertical lines. Careful you don't get this inner vertical line in here. That's not the right one. They're kind of where these circles meet the outer edges. And 2. Okay. So we're kind of looking okay so far. This thing kind of overall is looking pretty chunky, actually. We're going to kind of make some adjustments to that a little bit later on, but we'll keep it simple for now. But I'm going to go ahead and turn on the printed circuit board, and we're going to kind of lower this into place to kind of make sure that things are mostly lining up okay. So to do that, I'm going to click on our base. I'm going to right-click on our base, rather. Go to opacity control. Go to 50%. That kind of makes it moderately transparent. I'm going to kind of come over to this angle, and then I'm going to use the move tool to select the PCB and kind of begin to slowly kind of lower it into position. So we'll move it down. I think about 5 millimeters should be just about right. Yeah, I think that's lining up okay. Okay. So we'll click OK. And that's also going to give us an opportunity to kind of think about what needs to happen in here to be able to kind of open that up to hit all of our buttons and get access to our USB. So I'm going to kind of leave that like that for now. We're going to come around to this edge, to the back side, and we're going to create a new sketch, and we're going to create it on this kind of face of the base that's like looking at us. So you can kind of see as I hover over it, it changes kind of its shade. I'm going to click on that there. This is going to let me kind of begin to do some sketching out here. So I'm going to think about what I want to do here. So I'm going to come down. I'm going to click on line, do a construction line. I'm going to come find kind of the center point. That seems to be right there. And I'm going to come down 6.75 millimeters. Okay. And I'm going to do a center point rectangle, but one for realsies. And I'm going to kind of drag this out. And I'm going to kind of think about how big I really want this to be. I'm actually not a huge fan of that 6.75. Not a huge fan of 4 either. Let's try 5. So again, part of this is improvisational. May need to get changed later on. So we'll click on rectangle, center rectangle, and I kind of just want to leave myself enough room here to be able to access the button and that USB switch. And you always got to be careful. The USB kind of needs a little bit extra wiggle room. And so we're going to go 8 millimeters by 28 millimeters there. Okay. So we'll see how that looks. Yeah, hopefully that's okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Finish Sketch, Extrude, and then I'm going to extrude this way. And click Cut. And so here we can kind of see, yeah, it'll give us a little bit of access to our USB switch there. Okay. Oh, whoops. I accidentally cut into everything. I'm going to hide the PCB here for a second. So I click Undo, click the eyeball on the hide PCB. I didn't mean to actually chop that PCB up. Okay. So that's going to cut the hole in the enclosure, and I can bring the PCB back, and now I can actually see where it's lining up. So, okay, so we're going to go with that for now. All right, so looks like we're making okay progress so far. So again, we'll come and kind of clean this design up in just a little bit, but I think we're actually okay to start working on the the top piece now. So let's kind of think through how we want that to work. So I'm going to come back over to this view. I'm going to call this our USB opening. Okay. And I'm going to create a new sketch. This time I'm going to create it on this top face here. And I'm going to create a 2-point rectangle. I'm going to come down from this corner. I'm going to come up 70 and over 70. Okay. Then I'm going to create a circle, dead center. And this circle I'm going to make 40 millimeters wide. Okay. And then at this point, I'm going to hit finish sketch. I'm going to rename this. This is going to be our top. And we're going to extrude. And I want to extrude, I have to kind of be careful. I want to make sure I get all these little bits here. So I want everything but the center. And I'm going to bring that up, excuse me, 15 millimeters. Okay, so we can kind of see into the little PCB there. Ooh, now I did make a mistake. I joined that, and I shouldn't have. So I'm going to do undo extrude. I'm going to hit extrude again. I'm going to go select all these pieces, because I do want this to be a new body. So as I drag that up 15 millimeters, see it wants to join. That's kind of merging it with our base. I don't want that. I want new body. So I'm going to click OK. So we can see, in fact, that we have a couple of different pieces here. So I'm going to right-click and rename that. We call this top. Okay. And I think we're ready to kind of start making things a little bit more interesting. So I do want to have some holes in this top so that we can screw the bottom to the top. And so let's kind of think through about how we want to do that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually hide the top for just a moment. I'm going to hide the PCB. And I know I want to extend these screws up a little bit. And so I'm going to come over here to our base. Okay. And I'm going to create a couple new circles on this base. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to bring this out 4.2 millimeters. And we're going to bring this one out 4.2 millimeters. We're going to bring this one out 4.2 millimeters. And we're going to bring this one out 4.2 millimeters. And I'm going to finish the sketch. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to extrude. And I'm going to kind of select both of these circles. Okay. And I'm going to extrude them up 4 millimeters to kind of give me these little nubs. I do want to create these as new bodies. Okay. So I'm going to hide my sketches for now. And I'm going to bring back my top. And what we should see is we kind of have these little nubs that are kind of intersecting with our top. And so what I can do now is I can come over here to combine. I'm going to click our target body is going to be the top. And then our tool bodies are going to be these 4 little guys here. And we're going to do a cut. And you can see how that's going to, when we click OK, cut those 4 millimeter holes in there. And that's those 4.2 millimeter holes. And those are going to be for our heat set inserts that will allow us to screw into the base. Okay, so we bring back our base and our PCB. Okay, so we can now see how those would kind of intersect a little bit there. Okay, I think we're making some good progress. The other thing that we want to be thoughtful of is when the screws come in through the bottom, we actually need to make this hole a little bit bigger for the head of the screw. And so I'm going to go to our Create Sketch tool. I'm going to select the bottom face of this. I'm going to go to our circle tool, and I think I'm going to make the width of that 5.5 millimeters. I'm just going to double check that with some screws that I have kind of laying around nearby. Yeah, 5.5 seems good. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing here. 5.5, and you can see how I'm just centering them kind of right around these other screw holes. It kind of snaps right to that. That's helpful. Okay. 5. Good. And so I'll finish the sketch, and now I can see, I'm going to hide all these components. So I should be able to see that I've got these holes that I can kind of now push through. So turn my sketches on. There we go. Okay, so I got sketches turned on. I can see sketch 5. And so now I'm going to hit E for extrude. I'm going to click these 4 donuts, and I want to bring them up to kind of begin to cut into our base there. So we're going to be kind of thoughtful about how much we do that. So I want to kind of do some thought. So that if we go the whole way, that's 25 millimeters. Okay, that would be plus the 4 that we go up into there. So would be 29. And we have 10 millimeter screws. So if I bring it up and cut into it, 19, boy, that seems not like a whole lot. Let's take off another 5, so let's go to 14. So we're going to cut in 14. So if we get some 15 millimeter screws, we should be able to, screw this thing together and have some good strength. So we're going to choose that as a cut operation. We'll click OK. And so now we can see that we've got the ability to kind of put in some long screws, and their heads are going to rest here. And their bits are going to poke here and come into the top. Okay, making progress. So I'm going to turn back on the top and the base. I'm going to change the base now to 100% opacity. There we go. So you can kind of see everything that's going on right now. And so now we need to start making this thing a little bit more ergonomic. So one of the first things I want to do is kind of fillet some of these edges. I'm going to kind of fill them as much as I can. I'm going to turn off the top for now so I can really kind of see what's going on. So I'm going to come to this view. I'm going to come over to fillet, and I'm going to select this vertical line, this vertical line, this vertical line, and this vertical line. I'm not really sure the number that I should hit it. I'm just going to hit 10 for now. That seems okay. About 15. That seems like it's maybe even more okay. So kind of giving it a nice rounded shape. I haven't eaten in too much to the design yet. 15 seems okay. What would 20 look like? 20 is getting a little bit tight for my tastes. You can see the difference between that and 15. You know what? Let's go with 20. Okay, so we're going to click OK on that. We're going to come over to our top, and we're going to do the same thing with the top. So we're going to choose these 4 lines. Oh, not press pull. Fill it. Sorry, didn't mean to choose the wrong option there. Okay, and we're going to fill it at the same amount. Okay, we're going to fill at this bottom edge too to kind of make it a little bit more ergonomic. So I'm going to fill it, and this time I'm going to just hover over and select this entire face, and we're going to kind of bring that up. Again, I'm just kind of playing with some numbers here. Doesn't like that. 3 is okay. 5 is okay. I'm going to go with 3. Just a nice little kind of rounded bottom. Okay. That seems okay. All right, and for the top, we're going to do the same. So we're going to do a fillet. I'm going to select this edge, and this we're going to really kind of play around with. I kind of want this to kind of curve out, and then that way our joystick can kind of move around. So I'm going to see what 10 feels like. Check for this end. Okay, definitely didn't like 10. Okay, 5, 8. Okay, that's kind of looking cool. Excuse me. Okay, we'll go with 8 there. And then I'm going to do one more fillet. That's going to be kind of on the inside circle here. That's just going to kind of open things up on the inside as well. I'm going to turn off the base, so I want to kind of see what's going on in there. Okay, 10's okay. Let's see if we can do 15. Yeah, I'm going to do 15 just to open it up just a little bit more. Okay, and we'll click OK. And so here we can kind of see we kind of rounded out some edges. We still got some kind of rounding out to do. So over here, where we kind of have this opening for the USB, I want to fill at these edges as well, just to kind of clean them up a little bit. And so I'm going to turn off the PCB. I'm going to turn off the top. I'm going to hit fillet. I'm going to select these kind of diagonal lines coming in. Okay, and this is pretty good. I'm going to turn the PCB back on just to make sure it doesn't kind of cut me out from too much. Yeah, that still looks okay. So we're going to go 3 millimeters there, and then we're going to fill it one more time. And it's going to be, I'm going to choose this kind of like outer oval, and fill it in. Let's do 1 millimeter there. Kind of round that out as well. Okay. Okay, so it looks like we've got our base, we've got our top, and again, all of this is editable and adjustable if for some reason we find that this doesn't work perfectly with our design. We got a couple more things that we want to design, including the buttons and then our knob. So we'll start with the knob. So I'm going to kind of come to this top view, and we are going to, let's see, what is this sketch? Oh, okay, these are screw holes. Okay, let's create a new sketch, and I'm going to create it right on top of this area right here. Okay, and let's take a couple of moments to think this through. Alrighty, so we are going to make a circle, dead center, and it's going to come out 30 millimeters. Okay, then we're going to have another circle, and I want it to have kind of 3 millimeters of clearance on either side. So that's going to be 24 millimeter circle. And then I'm going to have that. Actually, yeah, that's going to be it, I think. So we're going to finish our sketch. We're going to select on, is that what I want? That's actually not what I want. I'm going to right click this, edit sketch. I forgot that I've got a couple small changes that I want to make this. We're going to make another circle in here, and it is going to be 4.4 millimeters. And then I'm going to hit rectangle. We're going to do a center rectangle in here. That's going to be 4.4 by 3.4 millimeters. And it's going to give us a little bit of wiggle room for this, this little shaft that's going to plug into it. Okay, now we can click Finish Sketch. And what we're going to do now is we are going to extrude the entirety of this thing up. So I'm going to go and Make sure I select every little bit here. Don't want to forget any. And I'm going to extrude that upward 32 millimeters as a new body. Okay, so there's my new body. We're going to make a couple adjustments to it. So I'm going to rename this. We're going to call this knob. We're going to make these guys disappear. We don't need them for now. But we are going to rename our little sketch here. Knob. And we're going to turn it on. Okay, because the next thing we're going to do is we are going to come in this guy, okay, and we are going to extrude that up. So we're going to E for extrude. So it's going to kind of take that bite out of it. And that is going to go up 17 millimeters. Okay. And then the last little thing that we're going to do is we're going to hit extrude one more time. We're going to select on this. We're going to select on all these little guys, including this. And we're going to drag this up 10 millimeters. And what that is going to do is it's going to kind of give us this little, cover cap. That's going to let us do all sorts of fancy stuff. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of a design to this edge, kind of something that's kind of smooth or something that's got a bit of a texture to grab onto. And so to do this, we are going to hit Create, and we're going to come down here to Coil, and we're going to select this center point here, and I'm going to click it once, twice, and then drag it all the way out and type in 30 millimeters. Okay, you can kind of see what we've got going on there. Okay, now this is a little crazy, so we're going to adjust this a little bit. So for revolutions, I'm actually going to type in 0.1. Okay. For section size, I'm going to see kind of what 4, maybe even 3 looks like. I'm kind of just looking at how it's kind of cutting through that. Yeah, I kind of like that. Circular, on center, yeah, that seems pretty good. Cut is fine. So I'm going to click OK. You can see it kind of made this little cut right through here. Just going to double check, make sure that didn't really negatively affect anything. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to Create, Pattern, Circular Pattern. I'm going to change Object Type to Features, and I'm going to select this little coil icon right here. I'm going to come down here and select on Axis. I'm going to select the blue vertical axis. Okay, you can see it's going to start spinning that around. Let's try out 24, 36. 36 looks kind of cool. Yeah, so I'm going to do that and click OK. This will take a little bit, so you kind of see it kind of adds this little, texture to it. But I'm not just done just yet. I'm going to come down to Create. I'm going to go to Mirror, Object Type. We're going to do Features. And this time, we're going to select both this and this. So I held down the Shift key to choose the circular pattern and the coil. For the mirror plane, I'm going to select this plane right here. And I'm going to click OK. And again, this might take it a good long time, so just kind of be patient. Let it do its work. There we go. So now we've got like a cool diamond hatch type texture for our knob. Okay. Now I do want to kind of put a nice top on this. So I'm going to create a sketch on the top surface of this. Okay. I'm going to create a circle, grab its center, bring it out 30 millimeters, and enter. I'm going to hit E for extrude. I'm going to hide this knob for the moment. And I'm going to select that, but also I want to select all of these guys. So there might be a faster way to do this, but I'm just going to have fun clicking for now. All right, let's bring it up 3 millimeters. Cool. I'm going to turn the knob back on. I'm going to choose the fillet tool for this. Select this upper ring. Let's see, so 3, 5. Let's do. Let's do 4. Okay. So I'm going to give it a 4 millimeter fillet. And then I'm going to click on the combine tool, choose the knob and this body. I want to change the operation to join. And I'm going to click OK. And it's going to merge those together to be the same thing now. Okay. So making good progress. There's one more kind of small change that I want to add into this, and that is I want to kind of add an emblem to the top of this to kind of personalize it a little bit. So I'm going to come over to the noun project. Probably no surprise. I'm going to look for a unicorn. I'm going to try to find like an SVG of just something really, really simple. So, well, like this one's pretty good. Okay, I'm going to open that one up and if there's anything else that I like. That one's pretty cool too. We'll compare those. That one's probably a little bit too small and too detailed. So I'm going to go with this one because it's just a nice solid chunk, very easy. So let's say get this icon. Excuse me. Basic download. And download the SVG. Cool. Come back over here. We'll go up to Insert SVG. Insert from my computer. Go down Downloads. Grab this guy. Hit Open. I'm going to choose this face. And I'm going to, so I can use this box to kind of move it around. I can use this little thing to like, shrink it down just a little bit. I'm going to kind of center it right there and click OK. And then, with any luck, I can hit Extrude, and I'm going to extrude it down 1 millimeter into the face. So I've got a cool little like, unicorn icon on my knob. Okay, so it's going to bring this stuff back. Okay, so we're looking okay. And so now what we can do is I'm going to take the top and I'm going to change its opacity to about 50%. Kind of look here at the back. I'm going to change my knob, change its opacity to about 50%. I'm going to turn off the base. Because what I want to do is I kind of want to seat this on there. So I'm going to click the Move tool. I'm going to select my knob. I'm going to kind of begin to slide it down so that it will kind of interact with the thing right there. Cool. So if I click OK. And then I can turn the base back on. Take my top, change its opacity back to 100%. Take the knob, change its opacity back to 100%. There we go. So we're making good progress. We've just got to do a couple buttons and we'll be on our way. Okay. So for this, I'm going to take the knob away. I'm going to turn off that. Let's see, what were these? Okay, this is the knob top. Just making sure I name stuff. This is the unicorn. Okay, so let's see. I'll take the top away and leave the PCB on for now. So now we want to kind of create some buttons. that are going to interact with the buttons here. And so to start off with, I think I'm going to kind of use this geometry as a starting point. So I'm going to hit E for extrude, and I'm going to come select this area right here, and I'm going to extrude it up 5 millimeters. And I want to make sure that I do that as a new body. Okay, so I kind of have something that would be like a button that would fit in here. Now the issue is that, like, that would like really like smash into it, and really wouldn't give us the effect that we want. And so we kind of want to be thoughtful about having a little bit of clearance through here. And so that means we're going to be kind of changing the dimensions of this stuff just a little bit. So we're going to call this, I'm going to rename this button. Okay. So I'm going to turn off the base for just a second. And I just want to think about like what parts need to get shrunk a little bit. So I think these sides need to get shrunk. I think this is going to stay kind of the same. I think that's going to need to change just a little bit. So we're going to kind of see what we can do here. Yeah, and I may change a few dimensions here. Okay, so we're going to turn off the base. Okay, I'm going to hit E for extrude, and I know these guys. Hit extrude. I'm going to bring those in negative 0.5 millimeters. So negative 0.5 and negative 0.5. And I'm going to come over on this side and kind of do the same. So negative 0.5, negative 0.5. I'm just hitting extrude and negative 0.5. So if we bring back our base, you see now that it's got like a little bit of that wiggle room there, and that's good. So the next thing that we need to do is I need to kind of extend this out, probably a millimeter to make sure that it actually makes contact with that button. So turn off the base again, and extend that out 1 millimeter. I'm going to turn off the PCB for a hot second too. Okay. So if we bring back the base, you can see that that button's going to collide with that there. Problem we have right now is like there's no room for this to actually kind of go that way. And so we actually need to cut in to this surface just a little bit to allow this button to depress a little bit more. So I'm going to give it about 1 millimeter of travel. I'm actually going to turn off the button. I'm going to come in here and select these guys and these guys with extrude and cut into it negative 1 millimeters. And so if I bring the button back in, now I can see that you could push on this button. It's got about 1 millimeter of travel to travel that way to hit the button. Now I need to make sure I do that over on this side too. And so I'm going to hit extrude, choose these two faces, and go in negative 1 millimeters. Okay. So, and then this isn't a very friendly button so far. So I'm going to turn off the base again, turn off my PCB for a second. I'm going to bring this out, I think maybe another 2 millimeters. I'm going to turn on the base and the top, because I do want it to kind of stick out a little bit. Yeah, okay. That seems okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fillet this front face, maybe 1 millimeter. So I'll turn the base and the top on again. Yeah. So we kind of have this nice, rounded button here. Now you'll notice I didn't change the height of this to kind of clear out. We want to make sure that this is kind of held in place by the top and bottom pressure. If we need to, we'll be able to sand this and adjust it if we feel that that's necessary, or we can come in and just retolerance the button and 3D print it again. So at this point, I'm going to turn everything back on. I'm going to turn off, I guess, the top because I want to duplicate this and kind of put it over here. And so to do that, I am going to, I bet I could just mirror this. Let's try that. So we'll create mirror. I'm going to change this to a body. I'm going to check this body. The mirror plane is going to be, and I'm going to turn off the knob and the PCB and the base. We're going to mirror it across this plane. And so we'll turn all that stuff back on. Minus the top. Cool. Looks like it'll create another one just for us. So we click OK. And now we've got 2 buttons. Okay. So we'll turn the top back on. All right, so it looks like we've made some really good progress here. I haven't saved in forever. Let's go ahead and save. You should have saved many more times than this. And last little bit, we're going to do a little bit of texturing, and hopefully we will be in great shape. So we're going to kind of have everything deselected. We're going to hit A for appearances, and you're going to kind of get to be thoughtful about, what colors you want things to be. So I'm thinking I'm going to make this part black. I'm just kind of dragging this color out onto there, and then maybe have a white knob and some white buttons. Okay, and then did I have green in there? Let's see. I think they probably just have that pink color, so that's plastic. Paint. Okay. I think I just want this green. Okay, fabric, metal, mirror, paint, plastic. Okay, there we go. Alright, then we come in here and I'm going to make the PCB green so you can kind of see on the inside of it being green. Okay. So, let's see how we're doing. Good. Okay, everything's looking okay so far. Let's go ahead and save up one more time. Okay. Now at this point, we can actually go over to our render mode. And we can kind of position it kind of nicely. Something like this. All right, lots of different options that you can choose from to work in here. I'll show you just an example of kind of how to use this, and then you can kind of go from there. But you'll kind of position it, click over here on render, and you always want to be thoughtful about the size of your renders. It'll be good for your portfolio later on. And so for here, I'm going to do probably 3,000 by 2,000. Okay. And we'll do cloud render, final, and we'll click render. And so once that's done submitting, it's going to start to kind of work on here. When it's done, you'll be able to preview it and then save it to your desktop. But you'll definitely want to save these as part of your documentation. So we come back over to design. And it's looking like we've made a lot of really good progress. Yeah. So at this point, what you then do is come over to Utilities, click on Make, and then you would, turn each of these into its own individual STL file, and then you should be able to print it all on one print bed. And so you'll have to export these all individually. Just a reminder, you don't need to 3D print the PCB, but you do need the knob, the top, the bottom, and the 2 buttons, and then layer them in Cura and slice them all as one G-code file, and you'll be able to print them all at the same time. So that'll save a little bit of time. And if anything doesn't work, then you can come back and just readjust it and just print those individual pieces. You don't have to print the whole thing again. Once you've got that all printed out, then you will come through. You will put heat set inserts into these 4 holes here, so that you can screw your PCB down into it. And then you will put 4 more heat set inserts up into here, so that when you put the base on, you'll be able to put screws all the way up through that and hold it closed. The last little thing I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to rename that. Uh-oh, don't do that. I'm going to rename that, not remove it. That's going to be our left button, and that's going to be our right button. Turn everything on. And check our render. Yep, still thinking. So again, that may take several minutes, and that's okay. You can just keep checking on it. Save one last time. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed.